right, welcome back, Math 2 students. So we're going to be looking at yellow bird's flight path, but now we're going to be given an equation. So for this example, we have y equals negative x squared plus 14x minus 24. So following along, the very first thing that I want you to do is to find your factored form equation and your x-intercepts, which we call it zeros as well, which is going to be question number 2 and number 8 for this one. I want you to write the equation first. And then I'm going to give you standard form equation, which is y equals a x squared plus bx plus c. So we want to be able to identify a, b, and c for this first part of our question. Well, there isn't a number in front of the x squared, which is going to give us a, but it's hidden. It should be -1. The 1 does not change it. So a in this example is going to be -1. For b, in front of, which is the middle term, in front of the x, it's 14. And then c, it's our last number. Notice how it's -24. And that's going to be our a, b, and c. So the very first thing that you guys should do is label a, b, and c. The second thing that I want you guys to do is to draw a little t-table like this. On the left side is going to be a times c, and on the right side is going to be b, the letter b. So let's go ahead and do some math. Well, here it's saying a times c, the left column. So if we see, we already labeled that a is -1, so -1 times c, which is -24. Well, that's going to give us positive 24 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Now b, we're left over with that guy, which is b, is 14. So we want to put 14 over here. And then let's do a times c, yellow. Now we got to find two numbers that multiply to 24 and add to 14. So let's think about this. Well, I know 6 times 4 gives me 24, but if we add that guy up, does it give us 14? And no, it does not. That one does not work out because it doesn't check it off. Let's try another example set of numbers. So let's do, I also know that 12 times 2 gives me 24. If we add that up, does it give us 14? And yes, it does. So you're going to pull those two numbers that we found. We're going to use these two numbers right here that we found and write our factored form to find our x-intercepts. So our factored form equation is going to be, So because we found 12 and 2, this is the way we're going to write it. We're going to work backwards. Because the first number is 12, we're going to do x minus 12, parentheses. Second number is 2, so we're going to do x minus 2. And the reason why we went backwards is because ultimately when we set both of these equations as 0 and solve for x, you should get x equals positive 12 and x equals 2, meaning that these two are our x-intercepts, which is 12, 0 and 2, 0. So this right here is already your zeros, x-intercepts, which is question number 2. Now your factored form, where we have the parentheses, x minus 12, close parentheses, x minus 2 parentheses, that's going to be our factor form equation, which is number 8. So number 8, those two questions are already answered for you. Let's move on to our next step. Number 2 is to find the axis of symmetry. In the previous bird, we studied the red bird. We were given the actual points and we had to visually see our graph to be able to calculate the axis of symmetry. In this example, we're only given the equation. So to find the axis of symmetry, there is a formula that you do have to solve for, which is x equals negative b over 2a. Don't overthink it. It's actually really simple. In question 1, or part 1, sorry, in part 1, we labeled A, B, and C. So just use your A, B, and C, whatever you labeled. We have negative B. We said B was 14, so we're going to have negative 14 over 2A. And we said that was negative 1. Let's go ahead and simplify. Numerator stays the same. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. We can go ahead and calculate that. Well, a negative over negative is a positive. 14 divided by 2, well, that is 7. So ultimately, x equals 7. This is your AOS. Axis of symmetry. This is already question number 4. So question number 4 is answered right there. Third part, find the vertex. Well, to find the vertex, it's really simple. We already know our axis of symmetry. Remember, at x equals 7, that's the middle of the graph. So we can use x equals 7 and plug it into our original equation, y equals negative x squared plus 14x minus 24. Let's go ahead and start plugging numbers in. Negative, you want to use parentheses for this one. X squared, well, x is 7. Again, I'm pulling this from the axis of symmetry, part 2. 14, that was already given, so I'm going to keep it as black. I'm only changing the numbers that we're plugging in, which is the x. 7, so I see another x, minus 24. go ahead and do some math. Well, 7 squared means 7 times 7, which is 49. But we have that negative outside. We're only calculating the parentheses 7 squared. That's all we're calculating. Plus 14 times 7. That is going to be, punch that into your calculator. So 14 times 7 is 98. And then you got to bring down the negative 24. So let's go ahead and calculate that. So we got 49, negative 49 plus 98, which gives us 49. Minus 24. Which gives us 25. This is the y value. So y equals 25. So we can already put our x and y, our vertex point, which is 7. We plug that in. And y equals 25. And this is our vertex point. Which is question number 1. So we have our vertex answered, our zeros answered, our axis of symmetry answered, and then the maximum height. If we were to draw this out, we already have enough information to draw this out. One of our x-intercepts is at 2, so let's say this is 2, 0. And our next intercept, let's say it's at 12, 0. And then the middle of our graph, let's say it's right here, which is 7. But the vertex point is at 725, which is all the way over here. Connect the dots. We can already see that question number 3 on your slide. Let me change colors. Which is the height. Highest height is at 25. So this is already question number 3 for maximum height. Distance is easy, remember. Distance is number 5. All you do is take your x-intercepts. So the highest one is 12. Lowest one is 2. So 12 minus 2, which is 10. That is your distance. So number 3 on your slide is already answered. Number 5, you take your x-intercepts and subtract them. So 12 minus 2. The next thing we got to do is find your domain and range. Remember that domain I'm going to do a new page. Sorry about that. All right, here's better. So for question number 6, which is your domain, and question number 7 is going to be range. So remember that domain is x values. And range is y values. So at your domain, we're looking only at the x values from where the graph starts to where it ends. You see where I highlighted? That's your x-axis. So looking at where it starts from the lowest number, I can see that at the x equals 2 right here, that's where it starts, and it goes all the way here where x equals 12. And that is my domain. So the way we write this is 2 comma 12 because this is a closed circle. Remember, we use brackets. So our domain is from 2 comma 12 brackets. Range is y value, so using a different highlighter. From where we're looking at the y-axis, which is right here. From where the graph starts to where it begins. Smallest number goes first. So I can see that our graph starts at y equals 0 and goes all the way up until it reaches 25. So y equals 0 all the way to where y equals 25. So our range is going to go from 0 to comma 25 brackets because they're both closed. Now you want to go on Desmos and plug in your factor form. Take a screenshot. And insert the image on your slide. Once you've done that, you need to drag your mustache pig and king pig. Remember that this example that I did right now is not the same question as your project question. Mine is going to be different than yours. This is an example, so please refer to this video and the notes, okay? I hope this has helped you guys with investigating the yellow birds, and I will see you in the next bird. Thank you.